AJ Styles and Abyss wrestled on the last show of February. If you'd remember, the story was the person who won in that tables match would become tag team champions with a partner of their choice and then face the person who lost in a tag team title match with a partner of their choice. It was meant to be Lex Luger. It was meant to be Lex Luger and Abyss would be tag team champions. But Lex Luger, who if you remember took a cut rate to appear last week, he only took $2,500. He wanted the full $5 if he was to wrestle this week, and TNA told him to fuck off, so they threw that out the window.
All fair from all sides.
Fair play to Lex Luger for wanting to get paid. Fair play to TNA for saying fuck no. So instead of Abyss and a partner being tag champs, the stipulation of that match was just thrown out, and it's actually mentioned offhandedly that when Styles and Abyss come out for the Falls Count Anywhere match, they're like, oh, the belts are vacant. Vince Russo just held them up.
But honestly, I'm fine with this tournament because the tournament rocks.
Yeah, and it's a very easy way to put focus back on something. It's just do a tournament. You know, we've lost focus in the tag division. We've been doing too much stuff with Styles and Abyss and single stuff, and the red shirts were champions for God knows why. So we're going to refocus the division. We're going to do a tournament to crown new champions. So starting on March 17th, we have an 8-team tag team tournament where 3LK, there's too many teams. I won't name them now. I was like,
Do you want me to do it?
Go on. Name all the teams in this tournament. Leave the mystery one for last for the sake of suspense.
The new franchise.
1.
Slash and Sing.
2. Returning.
Gilberti and David Young.
3.
Kid Cash and a not the partner that he was meant to have.
4. It was meant to be Johnny Swinger. Johnny Swinger was the partner in the tournament.
Siaki and Diamond.
5.
The Naturals.
6.
BG James and Conan.
7.
Before finishing up with the return of not Triple X, but Loki and Christopher Daniels in what felt like a big moment.
Yeah, I was thinking about this. Is this the first time TNA has done TNA nostalgia?
Yeah, I was thinking something very along the same lines too.
Like, they've done a bunch of ECW nostalgia, they've done a bunch of WWE nostalgia, they've done a bunch of WCW nostalgia. This is the first time they're leaning into their own history in a nostalgic way. They're like, Triple X is back.
Yeah. Which also shows like how big of a deal Triple X felt like.
Yeah, so the opening match of this tournament, Triple X faced the new franchise.
Oh, can't name a match more for me.
Loki and Christopher Daniels against Michael Shane and Shane Douglas.
Yes.
The most Liam match there ever was.
Apparently so.
So before the match, Shane Douglas denied that they were having trouble in the group. They still had tensions throughout the gauntlet match the week prior, and James Storm wrestled Shane Douglas as well, and they had issues there too.
They also did like the pretty confronting segment with Shane and Tracy.
The week before this, James Storm did wrestle Shane Douglas in a one-off, kind of unconnected singles match to anything else.
Well, it's playing off the Chris Harris.
Yeah, it's mostly to further new franchise stuff.
Yeah, but there was a really intense segment with Franchise and Tracy.
Yeah, so Franchise hits the belly to belly, and Tracy accidentally still had the referee distracted, so that the referee couldn't count the pin. Franchise turned around into a super kick and lost. Then Franchise got real mad at Tracy. Michael Shane rushed out to her defense, got between them. It was very tense, very awkward, but eventually tensions cooled, but tensions are still there.
Yeah, it was tense, and it was a little unnerving, but also it made for a really good angle.
You were legitimately uncomfortable at the tension between these people.
Yeah, because I think it's just seeing how they interact with each other normally, the three of them. You know, it just it struck a nerve, and I was like, oh, this is pretty over the top, but it made for a really compelling angle, and also the rest of the none of the other angles have gone to that point with these three, so I'm okay with it now because it's kind of turned more into a wrestling angle just with that that backdrop.
So before that Triple X and new franchise match, Shane Douglas cut a promo denying that there were issues in the group. He said they're strong and they're going to win the tag team title tournament.
I believe them.
Before Triple X came out, they reunited. They were the mystery team in the tournament. They showed Edith Skipper backstage looking surprised, because if you remember a couple months ago, he was trying to reunite Daniels and Loki, but Daniels and Loki were too busy fighting each other. But now they're back together, with the idea being who put Triple X together in the first place. It was Vince Russo. So Vince Russo has put them back together in this tournament. He's been able to mend the fence.
I wonder if they, within kayfabe, were taking the spot that Raven and Sabu left.
Yeah, because the story was that Russo offered them a spot in the tournament, and they turned it down. So that's, I guess, that again, Vince Russo, genius booking. That's why there is a mystery spot in the tournament. That's why there's an empty hole.
What can I say? The dude knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, real good match. Very enjoyable.
Yes, I really like this a lot. I like this story, though. It was nice to see Key and Daniels together again. Crowd was really into it.
Also, working as baby faces for both this and the other match. Real great baby faces.
Key got the Kojima nose strip.
Oh yeah, he's looking cool.
Yeah, I really like this. I thought this was awesome.
Yeah, so Tracy accidentally smashed Shane with her cast, allowing Triple X to hit the Powerplex and win. Then Shane and Tracy argued. Tracy went to slap Shane, but Franchise cooled everybody off, but then Michael Shane stormed out.
Yeah, I thought this was like a little jarring from the last week's segment, but then as the rest of the shows of the month like kind of came out, you understood what they're going through. Like, everyone has different problems with everyone.
So Scott Hudson was backstage with Disco and David Young with Trinity. Disco says he needs the master, the spine buster, not the clown scared guy to show up for this tournament. Then Cash walks in without Swinger. Cash said he told Swinger to stay home because Cash can't trust Disco and Young after last week, after they broke up in the gauntlet match. So he found a new partner from his roots, his personal family.
I like that he's like, I especially can't trust you to Trinity. And it's like, you know that you did everything, right?
You were the problem here, Kid Cash. Johnny Swinger was meant to be his partner, but his wife went into labor the night before, so that's why Johnny Swinger wasn't here.
And I'm sure there was some backstage stories about wrestlers being like, why isn't he here anyway?
No, the only one was that not only did they not know that his wife was pregnant, also, a lot of wrestlers didn't know he was married, so...
Simon Diamond's mentioned it multiple times.
Best man at the wedding thing. You're not paying attention to the show?
Jesus Christ.
But yes, so that's why Swinger wasn't there to be Cash's partner.
It's in his name.
He's swinging. I just find it interesting how, like, as a stroke of fortune, that is how Kid Cash's partner ends up being Dallas, better known as Lance Hoyt. And
Spoilers.
Dallas stays around for a long period of time in TNA, and Swinger doesn't. So what if, Swinger's wife went into labor like the day after this show? Would TNA history be different?
No.
Probably not. So Slash and Sin returned without James Mitchell.
It's nice to see Slash and Sin.
I still miss Brian Lee.
Yeah. They got a Brian Lee mention on this show.
So yeah, Slash and Sin returned for the tag team title tournament. They beat Glenn Gilberti and David Young. Slash pins Young with the Eye of the Storm.
0 and 18.
Or the Whirly Bird. I take umbrage with their 0 and 18 idea.
He literally won last week.
They literally pointed out too. They're like, David, when was the last time you won? It's like, I beat the clowns. It's like, but you didn't score the pin. It's like, that's not how win-loss records work, TNA.
Okay, Glenn, you also didn't
win. You lost too.
I don't know. I think, did they mean singles matches?
No, they literally pointed it out. The 0 and 8. He hasn't had 18 singles matches in TNA.
Do they mean straight tags and single matches?
No.
I'm trying to give them way out here.
They just don't know how win-loss records work.
Oh. Well, they know. They're just ignoring it.
They cannot do a sports-based product. They've decided David Young is 0 and 18, and he's on a loss streak.
Mm-hmm.
So we had the third match in the tournament, which was Kid Cash and his pal, which is Dallas, who was unnamed, and Mike Tenay and Don West had to do this entire match without giving him a name.
They should be like, it's Shadow.
They should know who he was. He wrestled twice on Explosion as Shadow before this, so they should be like, yeah, we understand.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm done with Sonny Siaki, man.
Yeah.
I'm not done with Simon Diamond. I still like Simon Diamond.
Even though there's a moment in this match where freaking Dallas hits him with a slam, he pins him, and it's the classic referee counts 1, referee counts 2. Simon Diamond doesn't kick out. And Dallas just kind of gets off the pin and the referee doesn't count 3. What is with people in this company not kicking out of fucking pins? It's happened like 5 times.
Maybe he thought that was the finish. He's like, that's it. Maybe he just wanted the match to end.
He just wanted to get out of there because he's losing.
Yeah.
So it's Dallas hits Siaki in the head with a pipe, allowing Cash to score the pin.
Cool.
But yeah, I agree with you that Siaki is just a guy who's there. It's like D'Lo, and I blame Siaki more for than I do D'Lo, because I don't blame D'Lo for the state of which D'Lo's in at all. It's not D'Lo's fault, even remotely, because D'Lo's cool and good.
I wish, I think Siaki just shouldn't have left the X division.
Because anytime, like, he comes into the gauntlet, he throws people around, it's, like, real cool. He does the same thing in, like, the multi-man tag the following week, where he just tags it in and throws people around, and it's really cool. And anytime he does that, it's cool. Anytime he's, like, grabbing a headlock and working, like, a 1970s style wrestling match, it's like, dude, do something.
He probably would have benefited more from being an X Division guy for a couple more years and just being around those guys.
Yeah, just working with AJ and working with Jerry, and, when you get into Sabin and Shelley and Strong and Aries, he'd have good matches with those people, and he'd get better as a wrestler with those people.
Yeah. I think just a guy that was miscast.
And then the last of the first round matches, the Naturals defeated BG, James, and Conan.
Yeah, it's actually nice to see the Naturals.
So the story of this one was Conan was nowhere to be seen, and Killings had a match later in the show against the Abyss, so BG had to fly solo. That story, by the way, was a shoot. Conan also arrived late. He missed his flight and didn't get to the building until 5 minutes before his match was scheduled to start. They had already, on the show, talked about Conan not being there and had prepared for a handicap match. Because when you think about it, the way it plays out kind of buries Conan.
Yeah.
And that, like, if the Naturals beat BG 2-on-1, it's fine.
But, like, he makes the big triumphant save and then loses.
He makes the big triumphant save, he runs out, he runs wild, and then gets pinned. So it's like, what a dork.
But I guess that is the punishment you have for missing your flight.
My favorite part of this is that Mike Today on commentary mentions that Conan is wrestling in street clothes, which is a basketball jersey and jeans, which is what he always wrestles in.
No, it's very different.
He occasionally wears a football jersey and jeans.
Yes, that is the go-to. Or he'll take the jersey off, you know.
Only occasionally.
That's for the big matches.
Conan does a great, like, a minute of Conan's matches always rule, because he has a great hot tag comeback.
We say this every Conan
But
match.
he has nothing else. It's just that he comes in, he hits his moves, he gets out, and Conan looks great, and he hits his lines, and he does his promos, and Conan looks great.
And you know what? I fucking respect it. Get in there, make your money, and don't get hurt.
So then, last show of the month, we have the 2 semi-final matches, starting with Triple X against the Naturals.
This kind of bang.
Yeah, again, putting the Naturals in there as good heels, in there with Daniels and Loki as like good baby faces, especially Daniels getting the hot tag in this match. Great hot tag from Daniels.
I like the Naturals because they look like a mid-2000s tag team, but they wrestled like an 80s tag team. It's a nice little like mix and batch.
And Loki is back to hitting people real hard.
Yeah, sure is. He walloped Franchise with that kick, but like Franchise didn't get down for us, just smacked him right in the chest.
Yeah, all of his kicks, all of his chops, he's sinking those bad boys in. Love Loki. The Naturals, the whole thing is that they've been throwing powder in people's eyes and hitting them with chairs. So Andy Douglas had the powder, but then Loki kicked the powder into Shane Douglas's, Andy Douglas's eyes.
It doesn't get any better.
And then Triple X hit the Powerplex for the win. Then there was tension between Daniels and Loki all of a sudden, but Loki extends the hand and Daniels shakes it, and they're pals.
Good. They should be pals.
And then the other semi-final match was Kid Cash and Dallas, who has officially been named Dallas.
Yeah, and like Scott, like he just like pretended that he knew.
Yeah.
He just like, and Dallas, how are you? It's like, oh, okay.
I assume they like named him on the internet or something during
On
the
the
week.
internet.
They have a website.
Wow.
NWA-TNA.com.
TNAChad.com.
ZombieWCW.com. You could also go there. So Kid Cash and Dallas defeated Slash and Sin in the semifinals to advance to face Triple X in the final and the other America's X Cup next month. So that show will be Team UK against Team Mexico with a main event of Triple X versus Kid Cash and Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Dallas won with the blackout, by the way, which is a cool move.
I thought it was going to get a way bigger reaction.
Again, it's the kind of thing where it's like, one, it's the Asylum crowd who don't react to anything, unless it's the ICP where they go absolutely batshit.
Should have strapped up Violent J, world champ.
So that brings us to the last show of the month where we did have that 4-way tag team match where it was D'Lo and Apollo defeating Simon Diamond and Sonny Siaki, Jungle Birdie and David Young, and the new franchise to become number 1 contenders. Apollo just walks out. They call him Apollo. They pull his mask off, and he's just unmasked Apollo now.
I like that. Even Don West is like, of course, it's Apollo.
It's just Apollo. He's just Apollo again. We even had a match last month where he faced Abyss,
Don't worry about it.
where if he lost, he'd be unmasked. And now he just walks out.
Don't worry, Garrett. Don't. It's Apollo. There's no need to get fired up about
He
this.
strolls out, and he pulls the mask off.
There's no need to get mad about this. It's Apollo.
Franchise and Michael Shane get into it again when Franchise wants him to cheat, so Michael Shane walks out, Franchise follows him out. Swinger comes out, hits Diamond with a chair, but the pin was broken up, but then Apollo won with a TKO anyway. So we don't currently have tag team champions, but we do have number 1 contenders for the tag team titles.
Great.
So D'Lo and Apollo will face the winner of Triple X against Kid Cash and Dallas.
Just as I was getting excited for the tag team titles.
You have D'Lo and Apollo ruining everything.
A little bit.